Hello everyone, welcome to the Strategy Meeples YouTube channel. I'm Kapil and today we will be starting a new series, and this is a replay analysis or gameplay analysis videos for Great Western Trail. So Great Western Trail is another heavy game available on Board Games Arena. I have played a lot of this game. If we go to my profile on Board Games Arena and scroll and see the games, so I actually have more than 100 games played for Great Western Trail. I haven't played it recently. I haven't played it in a few months. But when I was playing it, I was playing a lot of it. And if we look at my statistics, so I have been I think I'm pretty close to 500 elo. I think if I just get back into this game, play more, I think I'll be able to climb higher. But right now, the focus of these videos is to analyze the games that are played by the top players and just look at the moves and discuss strategy. So if we look at the rankings for Great Western Trail right now, so there's two players currently sitting at the 700 plus elo mark. So one is Andy and the other one is Patrick. So today we'll be looking at a game played by Andy, and I'll try to cover more games by the top 10 players, and most of these games will be in the 3-player format because as per the latest arena rules, the arena games need to be played in a 3-player format compared to a 2-player format from the previous arena season. So yeah, without any further discussions, let's get into the game. So this is the game. So Andy is purple, then we have G Pope, he is blue, and then Bao HCL, they are yellow. So this isn't a rules video, so I'm making the assumption that you're already familiar with the rules. At some point I do want to just put out some rule videos for all the games that we cover on this channel, including Great Western Trail, Castles of Burgundy, Spirit Island, and the future games that we plan to cover as well. But for this one, I'm assuming that you're familiar with the rules. I will point out things as they show up, but generally speaking, it's more of an advanced strategy guide perspective that I'm going to be taking. Okay, so in high levels of Great Western Trail, you have this victory point bidding. And the reason this is important is because sometimes the way these station master tiles show up, and just whoever has the lead and whatever workers are available to buy in the market, the first player could have a big lead compared to other players. So to equalize that lead, there is this turn order bidding. So in this case, the first player starts with 6 gold or 6 money, 4 cards, and this starting objectives, which is 2 stations. They need to occupy any 2 stations, and they need to have the green outlaw. And if you do that, end of the game, you will get 3 victory points. The second player will start with 7 gold. I'm just going to call it gold. 7 gold, 5 cards, and this objective, it says 2 personal buildings and then 1 hazard. And 3 victory points. And the third one starts with the most amount of money, that is 8 gold, 6 cards in their hand, and this starting objective, which is they need to have value 3 cattle, value 4 brown cattle, and a personal building on the board, and they'll get 3 victory points. So just looking at this, if you look at the market, there's 1 cowboy. Actually, there's 3 cowboys kind of, and 2 builders available. There's no engineers that have showed up yet. So all of these seem lucrative to me. If you look at the station master tiles that have showed up, so the first one can be really strong because it's anything with a permanent certificate is really good in general. And the bottom part of it says you get 3 victory points for every 2 station spaces that you have occupied. So that can be a good tile to combo with engineers, because engineers help you move your train faster and get to stations before your opponent. So this can combo well with that. Then we have station master tile number 5, which is saying you get a permanent 1 certificate, and at the end of the game, for every 3 For every 2 certificates you have, not only the permanent ones but also on your track that you have reached, you will get 3 victory points for every 2. Station Master 2 is actually, I think, not that strong mid game. It's saying you either get to remove a hazard or you get to collect a bounty for an outlaw. And then for every 2 objectives at the end of the game, even if you haven't fulfilled them, you get 3 bonus points. And then station tile number 11 is saying you get to move your certificate 2 spaces forward, and then 2 victory points at the end of the game for every private building that is placed on the game board. So this tile is really strong if you go for a builder strategy, because if you go for a builder, you could have, say, like 7 or 8 buildings on the board. So then or let's be more conservative, and let's say you have 6 buildings put out on the board. So those 6 buildings with this tile will give you 12 points. So that's a lot. And finally, we have Station Master number 11, which says gain $12, and then basically there's no endgame bonus. So it's kind of like a money boost. This is really good if it was in the first spot. I think in the 5th spot, it kind of drops in value a lot, because at that point, you'll already have an engine going, so you don't need a lot of money. Okay, that being said, let's do a quick overview of the buildings and then we'll start the game. So I'm going to zoom in for this. Okay, so all the players have the same side of building. That's the way the setup works for Great Western Trail. Each building has a side A and side B, but all the players use the same side. I mean, there can be like mix and match A's and B's, but everybody has to be on the same side of that respective building. So we have 1A, we have 2A, 3A, 4A, 5B, 12B, 6A, 7B, 8B, 9A, 10B, and 11A. So in this case, if you were going for a cowboy strategy, then this is a really strong building for that. There is another cowboy building that lets you swap your hands for the number of cowboys you have, and that along with this is like the ultimate combo for going for cowboys. But in this game, that other building isn't available. The other strong buildings, building number 4A is really strong into almost all matchups, just because it's like taxing, plus late game you can use it for buying hazards for a discount. I mean, for only a value of 5, so you get a discount of 2. Other than that, I think builder is still a viable strategy, because you have this building number 8 available, so you could build a 4, like you could build this building and then upgrade this to 10B, so that is a viable strategy as well. Building number 5 has double taxation, so you'll be taxing 3 every turn, so that can be a strong building to put out. And then building number 12, 11A, the way you can easily build this building is, I would say, I guess you could build a 6 and upgrade it with the upgrade the 6 to building number 12 if you have all 6 builders. So that's one way to put that on the board. You'll only probably get to use it a couple of times end game, but that's still enough. Okay, so let's get into this game. So usually you always just want to go first player, kind of, because you don't want to make it easy for your opponent to get first player without spending some victory points. So purple decides to go 1, G-Pope decides to go 2nd. Now Bao at CL is also competing for first place, so they bid 2 victory points. Andy is bidding 3 victory points now, and you kind of have like this back and forth between Andy and Bao at CL, who wants to be first. So the bid is up to 5 right now, so Andy really wants to go first here. And then Bao kind of gives up that that competition, and he says, sure, I'll go for player number 2 with 1 victory point. And then G Pope decides to go third and not bid any victory points. So Andy has committed 5 victory points. So let's see if that pays off going first. The first worker that you place can be anywhere on the board, on any building. This is commonly misplayed rules. I've seen people try to put that on the first spot or something, but no, the first worker that you put, or the first the first cowboy that you put can go anywhere on any neutral building on the board. So they decide to go to building B, which lets you discard a green cattle, gain $2, and then you can pay $2 to to place a building. Okay. So they right away put this taxation building, which is building number 1A, and this is a 3-player game. So in this game, every green hand is worth two taxation money, like $2, and every black hand is worth $1 as taxation. Okay. And they draw another green 2. So their opponent, Bao HCL, is second, so they decide to stop at the same spot. I'm assuming they'll do the same thing. They'll probably put building 1A as well before this building. So let's see. Okay. The reason that they're doing this is like if they're getting taxed, they might as well tax their opponent. And I think G Pope should probably do the same thing. Just put their building 1A over here. Let's see if they do that or not. No, they go ahead and buy a worker. Okay. So this spot, building number A, lets you hire a worker. For the worker's hiring cost, the worker's hiring cost is this. You cannot buy from the row the market token is currently on. So in this case, you can only buy from this top row. Now, whenever you deliver to Kansas City, this will be pushed down, and then this row will be available to buy from, plus any above row. And the game, like this market token, keeps getting pushed out as these spots fill up from left to right. And then finally, the end game is triggered when it's pushed off the board. And the other part of this building number A says you can hire another worker, but then you have to pay 2 in addition to whatever cost is shown. So in this case, they would have to pay 8 if they wanted to hire another worker. Early game, you don't have a lot of money, so you can only afford 1 or 2 workers. Afford just 1 worker. And then mid game is when you can try to combo and buy multiple workers. So it's back to Andy. So they go and deliver straight. So again, looking at the movement. So Great Western Trail, you can say, is kind of like a worker movement game instead of a worker placement game. It's kind of a mix of both, because you're placing these workers, but then you're trying to build the most efficient route for delivering to Kansas City every turn. And then it has to be like a mix. So either you want to go for a cowboy heavy strategy, or you want to go for a builder heavy strategy, or you want to go for an engineer heavy strategy. So those are the 3 viable paths in this game. And each of these strategies interplay with the buildings you have, as well as the station masters that are available on the board, as well as the objectives available on the objective display over here. So yeah. So Andy goes and delivers, and they put out this engineer on the board, and they put out another outlaw on the board. Okay. And they deliver to Kansas City. That is a very common move. Almost all games, like the first delivery you make to Kansas City, because that gives you $4 immediately, but you do lose 6 points at the end of the game. But usually that minus 6 points is totally worth it for that 4 additional gold to give you like a little early game boost. Okay, so let's see what yellow does. So they just go there, swap hands, get 4 money. So blue is going to that spot. Let's see what building they decide to put out. So they have the 2 workers necessary to put out a building of 2, which is builders needed, the top left of that building. And this building costs them 4 money because it's 2 per level of building for each builder needed. So in this case, they were like 2 builders, so they pay 4 money. And this is a really strong building because, like I said, it's taxing people. These are also taxing, but this also gives you free movement. So you can move your herder up to 2 steps forward along the trail. So movements are always really strong in Great Western Trail. You can like combo multiple movements. Like you could combo building like this into this into this building. So you have like 1 movement, 2 movement, 4 movement. And there's some other buildings that didn't show up this game, but then you can really chalk out your route throughout the game. Okay, so back to Andy on purple. So they are deciding to move their train, it seems like, or maybe pick up a hazard. So let's see. So they pick up a hazard for even more money, and then they get even more money with their auxiliary action. So they are sitting at 22 money right now, 22 gold, and that is a lot. I think they are going to double buy this turn. I'm thinking what they will double buy. I think they could just go ahead and double buy the cowboys, but we'll see. Okay. Yellow also delivers to Kansas City. They have a delivery of 4. Okay, and then finally blue goes and delivers as well. And they deliver to Kansas City too, take that 4 bonus money and minus 6 points at the end of the game. Now let's see what Andy does. They will probably go here and double buy. I'm trying to think what they want to double buy here. Potential options that I can see are, there is an argument for double buying engineers too, just because they could discard this to get a certificate and discard this to get a money, and they'll be closer to this spot. But you could really go for any of them. Ideally, when you buy, you want to buy like 2 of a kind, just so that you get closer to that 3rd spot on your board, which is really strong for each of these. So for example, your 3rd cowboy that you buy lets you take a remover hazard action for free. The 3rd builder that you buy lets you build a building for half the price, for basically $1 per builder. So that's a free building, not free, but like an additional action to place a building. And with the engineer, it lets you buy a worker with a discount of 2. So if I buy this cowboy, say when I cover this spot, this will only cost me $4 instead of 6. So let's see what Andy does. Okay, so they do go for engineers. And they will definitely be picking up the other engineer as well. Because like I said, you want to combo these buildings. Get really close to that 3rd spot on the board. And then they draw like the perfect hand. And I say perfect hand because you really need a hand of there's 4. Yeah, I haven't even gone into the types of cattle you can have in your hand or the starting hand, but you have like let me see if I can show here. So yeah, you basically have 3 of each 2 type of cattle in your hand, and then you have 5 of these ones. So basically what is that, 14 cards? So you want to draw like one of each type, because you have a hand limit of 4. Unless you unlock one of these spaces, then you can increase your hand capacity. But this is like the most valuable delivery you can make out of your base hand that you're dealt with. Okay, so yellow moves. They also pick up an outlaw, gain some money. Blue is also deciding to do the same. These outlaws are also good late game because they can help you solve these objectives. So it's kind of like a combo, like they're giving you money or this 2 hand swap token, but they also actively contribute towards these objectives. Okay, Andy has 3 engineers now, so 1 you have by default, so they definitely want to start moving their train along. Okay, I'm going to speed up the game a little, just to go over the strategy these players are going over. So yellow buys the 2 builders, getting closer to that 3rd spot. And blue already has a builder, so let's see if they will buy another one. They do. Okay, Andy goes, and I think they're deciding to place another building, so they place this 2A into that spot. That lets them buy a cattle and discard a white 2 for $4. Okay, so blue is going to their combo building, but they have to pay $1 to yellow just because of using that building. Similarly, anybody who crosses this track has to pay Andy 2 and yellow 2, but they can also remove these hazards and pay less money. So they come here and put out this building number 3A. Okay, I think Andy will go to that spot. They will deliver to the station. They place their engineer, and then in return they get this Station Master 6 bonus, which says it's 1 permanent certificate for the rest of the game. And end of the game, for every 2 stations that they have occupied, they will get 3 victory points. And with the auxiliary, I think they just take the money. Okay, so yellow delivers now and kind of jumps ahead of Andy in the turn order, kind of. Well, there is, I shouldn't say turn order, but just in terms of reaching the tiles earlier than them. So nobody has delivered to Chicago till now. Delivering to Chicago is important because it's value 10, plus it's a black station. So anything with a black station, you can put out your black discs. So early game, you want to put out like discs that give you more movement, ideally from this left spot. So that'll give you like 3 money boost in addition to +2 movement. So you'll have a movement of 5 instead of the base 3. Later on, you can put out this other one that'll give you 3 victory points in addition to 1 movement. So end game, you should aim for 3, 4, 5, 6 movement total. Okay, so Andy finally goes and delivers, and I think they have enough to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they have enough to deliver to Chicago this turn. And like I said, they are delivering from this spot. That gives them the additional 3 money. Plus now they'll have 5 movement from this point on for the rest of the game. The discs that you put out on these stations or on these station masters are gone permanently. Like nothing comes back to your track. So that is one important thing to remember. Okay. So yellow continues with their movement, and blue is also making some deliveries now. with that 5 movement, Andy is able to skip over all these buildings and go back to buying workers. And they have plenty of money, so I think they can just double buy here. Like buy an engineer, and then buy a third. And the third, I would assume they should buy a cowboy, just because they have this cowboy building out already. And that they can buy at a discount of 2, so they can buy it for 4. So basically they'll be spending 5 plus 5 plus 9 is 14, plus discount of 2, 4, so 18, plus they can discard a white 2, so that is 19, 20. So they'll be left with 2 money at the end of it, I believe. So let's see. Okay, they actually changed their strategy here. That is interesting. I thought they would still go for for engineers, but they are really leaning into the builders right now. That is a really smart move, because they completely control the deliveries, because they are first in turn order and they have the maximum movement, and their opponents are both at 3 at 3 builders. So by taking away both the builders, this builder isn't available because it's in the row as the station, as this market token, so it cannot be bought. So that's a really smart maneuver by Andy, just blocking off their opponents from buying their 4th builder. Okay, back to Andy, and they go out and place some buildings, and then they have this extra builders, so they can place out a higher level building, and they place out building number 4A. Okay, yellow decides to go and buy some stuff, and they are going for the cowboy now. They buy 2 cowboys. And then blue goes and hires some more workers, and they go for an engineer. Okay. So let's see what the next couple of moves bring us. So Andy delivers here, and they have... Can they deliver to 8? No. Probably deliver to 6. Okay. Okay, so back to Andy. I'm just kind of speeding up the move because if there's something really important going on, I'll point it out. But in this case, like all 3 players are kind of stuck on this 3 builder right now. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what... So Andy definitely wants to buy this 4th builder, and they can put out a building of value 4. So I think they can put out 6A. And then potentially later on they can upgrade that to a 10B. So let's see if they can make that happen. Okay. So there we go. Let's see where they will put out this building. I'm pretty sure that's the one they should put out, 6A, just so that they can upgrade it to 10B potentially in the same turn. Okay, so they put it out over there. Okay, blue double delivered to Kansas City. That is interesting. Usually when you double deliver, you should really have a plan for it. In this case, they have 16 money, so maybe they are planning to buy. But the problem is that they still cannot buy their fourth builder. So they're kind of stuck. So they stuck over here. So they really need to either push for more engineers or more cowboys. Just pivot their strategy. Whereas Andy has everything that they need. They have the 4 builders. So they just need to have 8 money at this spot, building number B, to upgrade this 6A into a 10B. And then they will get 4 movement from that plus 4 train movement. So they can just hop over these early stations. And that combos with the bonus station master tile that they picked up. So really strong game plan by Andy over here. So they are okay. I see. So 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, I think they should have the some train movement from this. Okay, blue is taking their turn and it's back to Andy. So they have a movement of 5. Okay, so they can buy another worker. So they decide not to buy anything and they move their train 2 spots forward. Yellow is gaining more money. You can kind of feel the power of having this additional 2 movement compared to their opponents, yellow and blue, who have still not delivered to Chicago and are still stuck on this 3 movement. So just having that access to that extra 2 movement can be huge, because in this case, if you have that 5 movement, you can skip over 1, 2, 3, 4 and go straight to the building that's the most important. Whereas if you have 3 movement, you are bound to either stop here or stop on, like for yellow, they have to stop on their building. But the problem is the 2 money that they gain from here, they just lose in tax to Andy over here. And going bottom isn't really an option because you're losing like 2 money, 2 money, 1 money. So you're losing 5 money on the bottom track. So that's really a negative action economy if they were to go bottom. Plus 3 movement doesn't even allow them to do that. They'll similar to what blue is doing, they'll have to go here, here, and then stop over here. That's really inefficient. So that's why it's so important to unlock more movement early on in Great Western Trail. It's all about moving your workers. Like, it's some games like end game, you'll barely make like 1 stop the whole game. Like, you'll just have these movement buildings lined up so that you only stop at like 1 or 2 building max and then straight deliver. And those, if you are able to achieve that like mid game, then the score is going to be really high, because the amount of tempo you gain from delivering faster than your opponents to Kansas City is huge. Okay, so getting back to this game. Okay, so back to Andy. So they do some more train movement. Okay, they put out both their station masters over there, and now they have access to both of these permanent certificates. So yellow is kind of leaning heavy towards that cowboy strategy now, close to their 6th cowboy. And Andy delivers, I think. Are they delivering to 4? So that's 2 plus 1, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it seems like they're delivering to 4. Okay, yellow's turn. So yellow is going to buy some cattle. So they start buying those heavy value 5 cattles now that are worth 7 victory points at the end of the game. Okay, so just going through the game. I think Andy is in a pretty good spot right now. All they want to do is upgrade this 6A to 10B and then they can really fly from there. I wonder if they'll be able to put out 11A on the board, so let's see if they're able to do it. Okay, so they go to hire even more workers. Okay, so they are getting closer to their 6th builder. That is really strong too. Okay, there we have it. So that building has been upgraded to 10B. So this turn onwards, Andy can just move their train 4 and then deliver straight to Kansas City. So blue delivers. And they finally deliver to 10 to Chicago with that extra movement and 3 gold. Andy goes to their building 10B, takes the 4 money, moves their train, and delivers. So they kind of decided to give up on this building, Station Master 2. Even though it can be like some points, I think they are prioritizing getting to this Station Master 11 tile faster. Because right now Andy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings on the board. So this tile will be worth 10 points for them at the end of the game. Okay. So blue is moving along, closer to their 4th spot for engineers now. Then they can double hire here. So they hire a cowboy. Okay, it's Andy's turn and they stop to... How much money will they get? 1, 2, 4 money, I think. Okay. So blue is moving to their movement spot and then they put out a building. Let's see which one they put out. Okay, so they put out 2A. I think it's a little too close to the end of the game. They might get to use it once before the game ends, so we'll see. Okay, Andy actually comes and hires a building. Hires a cow. Okay. They really want their 6th builder, but right now it's not unlocked, so they need to wait maybe another turn to do it. Oh, that was a nice move by blue. So with this 4 engineer movement and the 2 auxiliary movement, they actually move past Andy and occupy this spot. So that's a huge swing. I think Andy is still far in the lead, but that was a huge 10-point move by them. Potentially 12-point move by taking away that spot from Andy. But they actually do not put a worker over there, so they do not get this tile. So if they move, Andy can still go in and get that tile. So let's see if they let Andy do that. Yellow is also actually doing a lot. Like they've gotten all their cowboys now. And if we look at how many cows that they've bought, well, they've only bought one cow. They should really be pushing for more cows. So let's see. Okay, it's back to Andy. And they just keep on delivering over here. Think it doesn't matter that they don't get this tile, they just want to end the game. They actually took this tile number 18, and you might be surprised, like there's no way they have a hand worthy of delivering to 18 this game. Like they only have a cattle 3. But the thing is, they put out this sneaky little building 9A, which says you move your train ahead by 3 and then move it back as many spaces as you want, and the number of spaces that you move back you deliver to that station. And this building combos really well. This building combos really well with this objective, because you are easily able to deliver to New York with this building. It'll usually only happen once towards the end of the game, but it's still an extra 9 points for you. Extra 9 victory points. So that's a really good move by Andy over there. So blue actually lets that spot get away, but the problem is Andy doesn't have any of these spaces open, so it's hard for them to move their train back. Actually, Andy can move their train back. Wait, how did they do that? Oh, they have this above spot open. Okay, I didn't see that. But this one says you can move your train 2 spaces backward, and then you pay $1. Pay $2 to move it 2 spaces back, but you also get 2 auxiliary certificates in return. So that is a big swing then, that the fact that Andy still gets that really strong building bonus for them. Okay, Andy will definitely be buying 2 builders over here. And we get to see building number 10B on the board. It's by itself. It's actually, no, I think they redo that. Oh no, they don't. Yeah, I don't see it yet. Yeah. It's basically building 20 on the board. I mean, building that 20-point building on the board. I think the UI is off. One other reason that I should point out that you want to specialize in one of these 3 areas is because the last 2 spots give you 4 points if you have a builder, and if you have a worker in any of these last 2 spots. This spot gives you 4 points each, this spot gives you 4 points each. So it's easier to hit those spots if you're going down the same track. Like in this case, yellow went for cowboy, so they could easily achieve those 8 points. Andy went for the builder, so they could easily get those 8 points. And if blue goes for engineers, they should be able to get those 8 points. So just something to note. Game is about to end pretty soon. I think this should be the last delivery. Okay, so Andy is putting out a building. Let's see what they put out. Actually, they just discard a tile to gain money. Okay. Okay, so Andy is seeing if they can deliver to 12. They have this 4 over here, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think they can. Okay, so they, instead of delivering to New York, they do that maneuver and just deliver to 12. And now I think they're hoping for a way to deliver to 14. Okay, so this is the last turn of the game. And Andy will just stop at their most powerful building, which is 11A. So lets them take 2 hazards for 2 value each. So definitely go for these 4 value hazards. So 8 points for $4 is a pretty solid action. And then yellow gets another turn because blue ended the game, so every player after them gets a turn. And then yellow should choose an auxiliary action. But yeah, basically that is the game. So let us look at scoring. So if we look at strategy, so Andy went for heavy builders. They actually tricked their opponents into thinking they were going for engineers. But at the right movement, they just stopped and just pivoted towards going for builders. And I think that made a big difference. That just completely stopped their opponents from pursuing builders and completely stopped them from... Like, it kind of wasted their builders because they couldn't advance. And then by the time more builders came onto the board, it was too late for them to spend actions to go for it. Okay, so let's look at the final scoring. Okay, every 5 gold is 1 point. So Andy gets 0, 32 points from buildings, minus 3 points total of all the stations, minus 6 points for Kansas City, 4 points the total of all the stations they delivered to, 8 points for hazards, 3 for cowboys, 8 for objectives, 22 for station master bonuses. So that's a lot. That is basically from this tile, and this tile. Then 8 points for each worker. So they place 2 workers. So they get these 8 points. 3 points for this spot. So they unlocked this spot on their board. So they get the 3 points for that. And then finally, the person with the market token who ends the game gets 2 points. But yeah, the final score was 80 to 47 to 13. So that was a nice, powerful win by Andy in this game. And we kind of saw the strategy that they took and how they pivoted mid-game to committing to builders. And then just the buildings that they put out and the combos they made. But yeah, it was a fun game to watch. Just Nice. We saw some good building synergies and just how these players tackled this game. I think this was the final. I think some more statistics of the buildings that showed up. But yeah, this is the first game in this series of Great Western Trail games that we'll be looking at. I think at some point I will play some live games too. I do really enjoy this game. I just haven't gotten around to playing it for a while. And there's a lot more strategy, lot of interesting decisions that can be made in this game. So we'll try to explore those in future content as well. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you. Bye.